Hello my beautiful friends. I hope you all are doing very well. So now it's time to read yet another interesting stories. So let's get started. The first story is The Mouse and the Sage. A sage once lived in a hut near a temple. One day a mouse entered the sage's hut and started living there. He started stealing the food that the sage brought into the hut. The sage tried to hide the food, but the mouse always found it. One day, a scholar came to meet the sage. During their discussion, the scholar noticed that the sage was distracted. The scholar angrily said, "It seems you are not interested in hearing my opinions. You are preoccupied with some other important thought. I should leave." The sage apologized for his behavior and pointed to the mouse. "Look at that mouse. No matter how high I keep the bowl of food, he can always reach. He has been tormenting me for weeks." The scholar understood the problem and advised, "The mouse can jump so high because he is very strong and confident. He must have stored a lot of food somewhere. We must find his hideout." The sage and the scholar followed the mouse and found the hole where he had stored the food. They dug the hole and removed all the food. The mouse grew weak as he was left with no food. He tried to find more food but did not succeed. Slowly he lost his confidence. Left with no option, he entered the sage's hut and tried to steal food from the bowl. However, he failed to reach the bowl. The sage hit him with a cane. The injured mouse was forced to flee from the hut and find a new place. The moral is, strike at the enemy's source of strength to defeat him. Let's go to the next story, The Unteachable Monkeys. Once a group of monkeys got drenched in rain during winter. They were shivering in the cold when one of the monkeys found fireflies and thought they were fire embers. To start a fire, they started blowing on them. On a nearby tree, a bird was watching the vain attempts of the monkeys. She yelled, "You are wasting your time by trying to make a fire out of fireflies. You must go and find a cave to protect yourself from the cold." The monkeys ignored her advice and one of them said, "Don't interfere. Go away." Despite being ignored by the monkeys, the bird flew down to them. She tried to convince them that they must find shelter soon. One of the monkeys got frustrated and fiercely smashed the bird against the ground. The bird was severely injured. The moral of the story is, never advise fools. Now, next story, The Results of Education. A cruel bandit caught two parrots in the forest. While returning home, one of the parrots escaped and flew away and found shelter in a sage's house. A few years later, a king lost his way and reached the bandit's hut in the forest. The parrot in the bandit's house shouted, "A rider approaching the house! Catch him and kill him!" The king swiftly changed his course and rode in the other direction. He then reached the sage's house, where the second parrot politely said, "Please come inside and rest. We will arrange for some fresh fruits." The surprised king replied, "I recently saw a parrot just like you, but he spoke to me quite rudely." The parrot then narrated the story of how he got separated from his twin brother. The king said, "A good education has given you good manners. Your brother's foul speech is the result of bad education. The moral is good education lays down the foundation for a good character. The next story, The Foolish Friend. There lived a foolish monkey who was very dear to the king. He was treated like a royal and could roam freely in the palace. Most of the time, he would stay with the king. One day, the king was sleeping in his bedroom while the monkey kept watch. Suddenly, a fly appeared in the king's bedroom and sat on the king's chest. When the monkey saw her, he tried to shoo her away, but every time he would do that, the fly would return to the king's chest. Furious, the monkey took a sword and chased the fly around the bedroom. Once again, the fly sat on the king's chest. The monkey tried to hit the fly with all his strength. The king woke up severely injured by the sword. The unharmed fly flew out of the window. The moral of the story is a foolish friend can cause more harm than an enemy. Next story, The Bird with Two Heads. There lived a strange, rare bird with two heads and one body. Once, while roaming around the forest, one of the heads saw a tempting fruit. He started eating the fruit, but then the other head interrupted and said, "The fruit looks delicious. Give me a bite." "I was the one to spot the fruit, and I won't share," snapped the first head. The second head didn't argue, but he was disappointed. A few days after that, while passing through the forest, the second head saw a poisonous fruit and thought of taking revenge. "I will eat this fruit because you insulted me the other day," he said. The first head pleaded him not to eat the fruit as they share a common stomach. But the second head ate the fruit. The poisonous fruit killed the bird. The moral of the story is, united we stand, divided we fall. The next story, An Excellent Bargain. One day, a poor priest told his wife, Chandeli, that she should invite a guest to their house and serve him food. Chandeli thought, "I have some cheap sesame seeds. I can use them to cook a dish for the guest." So she cleaned the sesame seeds and removed the husks. Then when she went to do the household chores, a dog came and soiled the seeds. Chandeli looked at the seeds and lamented, "These are all I had. Perhaps I can trick my neighbor into exchanging these with clean seeds." She went to her neighbor and said, "My friend, I offer you clean and unhusked sesame seeds in exchange for your husked ones." The neighbor agreed, but her son interrupted, saying, "There must be something wrong with the seeds. Who exchanges unhusked seeds for husked seeds?" The neighbor took her son's advice and Chandeli returned home disappointed. The moral of the story is, judge every offer carefully. See you in the next video.